more than twice your height, stands shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. Feels exceptional. 300 tons of pine would fit together seamlessly. It's old too, cut and carved many centuries ago. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Revachol aussi, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city, a machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. A radio computer. We have one down at the station. No, I don't know how to operate it or what it's used for. Let's go.
This is the Ream Prefect radio computer, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits. In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you, as if under a microscope. The woman looks down at you standing there. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that useless word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the Small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? It's a mystery sprinkled with self-pity and regret. For some reason, unknown to your mind, looking at her delicate eyes makes you feel like you're ready for drowning. All you know is, this is the young mother of humanity, and that you should go. Do something else. Escape her sad, worry-worn look.
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone, almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total somehow. Your voice is barely audible, not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Could be.
He doesn't seem entirely convinced, though. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows. Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go? You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it. The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Rivershaw.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks, and maybe the ceiling climbing too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Look at these crazes. What is this shit?
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Save him perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness. It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it. I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. Convenience has got nothing to do with what goes on up there.
There's a profound longing in that gaze, like he wants to be one with whatever is up there, shrouded in darkness.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. No, no, no. There's a new god in town, and she can't be painted or sculpted because she has no limb or even a face. She is the end. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, at one with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes, that's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, way. It didn't belong to me. It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
No worries, man. I know this shit takes time.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer. Fairweather T500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that would work. You need to shoot the part of the enemy that doesn't have Fairweather T500 on it, because the armor itself is invulnerable. Good news is, so are the armor pieces on you. machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity. The lieutenant doesn't say anything, but you can sense that he doesn't like you meddling with the machine. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. This is the machine's filament memory. Press play to access its contents. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeat Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
This is a human interface. A retired person sitting behind a switchboard somewhere.
The filament you have inserted into the core. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons.
Oh, hey, wait. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. Too many times essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety. The lieutenant raises his eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. I think we're done here, essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
The machine's keyboard is... The speaker comes to life.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeat Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? The company on whose name the terminal you're currently using has been registered to. One moment. Votre accident SCS produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
On an island on the river Esperance, a small woman, all skin and bones, sits in a room filled with audio equipment. Thousands of tiny lights are reflected back from her prescription lenses, like stars in the dark.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do for you, Fortress Accident. Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? Sleep well, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church, the door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be interesting.
I doubt that we can find any. It's just idle fishermen's gossip to scare away the kids. Nothing spooky about this place either. It's just abandoned and cold, and in an awful part of town.
Then why doth the lieutenant protest against spending time here so often? 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated if she knew how to set up all this machinery.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. That disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles, crackers, ping-ping energy drinks, water, toothpaste, gum, also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
Yes, you are breaking in, but not into her radio computer. You're a master circuit bender.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
There are no coalition military data links. And even if there was, you couldn't access them over a civilian network. No one asked you to do anything interesting with my radio computer. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
What is it? I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager.
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. I use the AR-1 as my RAIM prefix processing unit. Mm-hmm. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing. I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core, the light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something. So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. Because I needed something good for my investigation, and Reims Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a Reims prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see Ream prefects in every police department, for example.
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade Reim Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as Reims Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. They are connected to my Reim Prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great. Nope. Yes. No, you're right. I'm not. You really like those questions, don't you? I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out. I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade. Strange things may flourish in the dark.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't. Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. The swallow, you mean? Great. Thanks. What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music. This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. Take a guess, why don't you? I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean.
Hi again. So, how are things going? And? What happened? Oh, man! Who is he? What did you think? Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church? No matter. Is he gonna be a problem? Yeah, Lloyd is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
up to no good. He's a crab man. A menace to society. I dunno, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it.
Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light! Yeah! Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Did you ask her about the nightclub? Come on, man. Who will you trust? The spooky programmer or us? We just want to make the world a better place. Feel the love! Get down and feel it!
A half-hearted sell of something which does not seem worth buying.
You'll get there, believe me. When we've got our gear set up, things will be flowing and pumping. Anyway, now that it's settled, how did she seem? I mean, disposition-wise, about the dance club idea. Ja oder nein? Rocking it or dropping it?
What a pity! That's my favourite thing in the world! And she doesn't like it at all!
A shame. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam and into a laser-lit future of dance and unity? Unity! Dance! And you can't just evict her?
Look at you, honour man!
No, Noid. He's right. Maybe we've approached it the wrong way after all. I'm sure there's a workaround. We can make a deal not to bother her. If that's okay with her, we only want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music. The lines in the dark exist. Coexist.
At least Crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard. He'll understand.
Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. And the programmer, does she like a Nordic dance music?
Egghead cannot believe what you just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for a moment, but then he returns to the full swing of it.
No worries. We'll figure it out. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? If it's all okay with you, what do you think? Excellent! Good luck, my friend.
A number of things don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather around, kids? The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Their would-be leader is less amused.
But you still are. What happened? That's a real downer.
The young speed freak is silent.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
What do you mean, friend? It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
This may be the brain damage talking, but you've definitely never heard of monodynamic or one-speaker systems.
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients.
He said it was for his nose. What more do you want?
Likely pseudoephedrine, almost exactly the shape of ephedrine. Ephedrine makes you happy, and so does pseudoephedrine.
And of all cellular-based life, what's your point, Lawbringer?
No shit. Come on, I meant to say, not true. Fuck, man. It's difficult to get along with some people, but we're trying to make an effort. We are on a mission here. What do you mean, do?
There's resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing.
What do you mean by lenient? Okay, man, okay. Things are just so hard for an entrepreneur in this city right now. It's not like we lied when we said we want to turn a church into the wickedest club in East Revershall.
Because we do! We totally do!
We just need to turn it into a speed lab before.
To get our foot in the door.
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. No, man, they're spooky all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
Sir, you promised you'd be lenient.
This is it. Judgment time.
No, please! There needs to be a club for Nordic music in there. Everyone hates each other. Everybody hates it here. It's all just drugs and we're slaves and I can't. We are running out of time.
He looks almost as old as you.
We need a win. I promise this will be a win. We won't cook speed in there. We'll do it clean. We'll do it true. We'll do it sober and real and beautiful. This will be a victory for the light.
This will be nothing. You can hear the ice cracking underneath you. Outside on the pier, the last century development crumbles in the wind. A grape-shot row of falling houses, and so does Rue de Saint-Jérôme and Main Street. The old cinema is sinking underneath Villa La Bosse.
What? Fuck, man. You said you'd be lenient.
Pack it up, Egg.
Yes. Thank you, officer.
You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morel's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds. The reeds bend forlornly toward the water. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks sickly pale against the darkness. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again, always the cold. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there, I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others, like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. Okay, but after that we get back to our own assignments. There really is no explanation for this detour right now. None whatsoever.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm afraid they're closed. It says here that the library is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We should try again during business hours.
Anything else, Detective? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of This Post Levantorie mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffito. A closer inspection reveals 2 bullet holes in the front. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102, with a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant. You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug, Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Evrard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
The box seems happy. Eat shit pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder, then you swallow. And then suddenly, you see it. Over all the other graffitos, someone has, using the tip of a very sharp knife, cut the words, Revachol forever. Before the cargo container. It's...
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a real future, Harry, and I feel I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
Judging from how happy he is, it looks like you did it. He doesn't appear to suspect trickery. Well done, sire. By guile and deceit, you're in.
I did not, Harry, although I am very, very glad he's dead. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait, is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying.
Actually, no, it's not.
Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. It's already happening. 2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
Sure, some will go, but mark my words. The company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column. We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his benefit and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
Oh, Harry, you've misunderstood. I have no drugs in my hands. It's all far removed from me, like some half-remembered dream. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's gonna be in on the wealth, and everyone's gonna pull their weight. Harry, the length you're willing to go to keep your nose clean is remarkable. You will always have a warm bed in Mr. Clare's household, my friend, and a special place in the future of Martinez. We're way past specific union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry.
There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big-time mode.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. Anyway, the neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debarders Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction.
As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt. I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
Harry, by now you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces.
He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large.
So the village is doomed.
You were there, you saw the place, a wasteland, there's nothing left. But mark my words, officers, we are going to reset it. Reset! I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. Harry, imagine a youth centre supermarket church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. I accept your salute, Harry. All of it is true. I've got the centre, I've got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years I'll get the church too. The wheels are turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on.
And then there will be a giant statue of him towering above it all.
damn right I'm up to something, Harry. I'm gonna make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace. Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debarders Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. I'm always happy to educate and entertain you, my friend. Very nice, Harry. Is there anything else?
The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now.
Can I help you?
What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess. So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
Boy, am I ever so grateful to you, officer. But I'm not the only one who wants to thank you.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Meskin origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But, darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5 and a half in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there. The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Where did you go? Don't go.
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
Our first, yes.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you?
He tries to play it cool, remain professorial, but inside, this man is itching for some news on those traps.
Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal, but...
It just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds. Why don't you try convincing Morel his hypothesis is invalid?
Thank you for the vote of no confidence, Gary. An officer. I appreciate your concern, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture. Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened? Some kind of foul play might be afoot. Theft?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Helping cryptozoologists isn't really a priority for our organization, is it? The lieutenant looks out the window, impatiently. Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person, hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bags?
Oh, my dear Morel, you've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to talk to Gary.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologize, Gary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though.
He keeps the language unemotional, but it's in there. Disappointment.
officer? What brings you up here in the rain?
She puts her coffee cup down with a soft ring as the porcelain meets the metal table.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions, only that he was never bad to me.
She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused.
Where did they get this recording exactly?
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via de-encryption station. It's authentic enough.
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style?
The phrase was used.
Yeah. That was practically his pickup line.
A memory surfaces in her tired neocortex. It's not entirely unpleasant.
Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Kohoi style? He wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Kohoi. It wasn't his everything.
Yes, was he bragging?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, then integrated them into his idea of normalcy, to keep on living, until they just sort of turn into his,
She's quite observant about the human character, trained to observe, even.
running joke. I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminoles conflict, the Kohoi massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezud all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. Afraid of what? That tape the Hardy Boys recorded? Your mother probably never told you this, but girls are evil. Had I the physical robustness and social support, I'd be in Kohoi. I would be tearing it up Soldier of the Apocalypse style.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? He and Martinez, I mean?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed happy, I guess. At ease. As much as a man like him could be.
What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details. She seems okay to talk about it.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now.
She takes a very small sip of her coffee and smiles.
Like, for example, his name?
Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lely.
A nickname?
I guess. He came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of him, but it was no use.
Lelystad. That's a good start. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town there.
The Lelystad municipality has few boroughs and even fewer cities. It's made of agricultural plots near the border of Gottwald. Executive summary: cows, silos, and wheat.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was occidental, not mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes, we were compatriots.
Did that bring you together?
No, he was too old for that. And from another part of Oranjenrek. I didn't even understand his accent. What brought us together wasn't Oranje. It was bad habits.
Sex, alcohol. No love for Mother Oranje. But wasn't he a soldier? This could be worth pursuing.
No, he left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Seminine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was the making money, killing people kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person, a small platoon leader, certainly not a patriot. There is nothing on Muindi. The old world is dead, and we both knew it. Maybe Oranje did bring us together, in loathing. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me, too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have had him above 50.
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no. We even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me.
We were slightly off then. Thank you for clearing it up.
Blue. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange, seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone. Oh, that. Sure, waterways. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason.
Is this Oranje's lit?
He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloths." And so it goes. Star after star. Port after port. Third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Oranje needed some people killed. so they turned him into a grotesque killer for money. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people in the Seminine Islands, and on other islands too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps?
All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's in your mind, officer? Oh? Who? Well, how can I assist you then, officer?
Put your hands where I can see them.
Show me your hands. This is the pace. Show me your hands. Right now! Show me your hands! Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. Officer, under duress! Officer, under duress!
Her eyes bulge with terror. Veins protrude on her forehead.
I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Hands on your head. Suspect is armed and dangerous. Lateral vascular neck restraint. Carotid sleeper. Carotid sleeper. Critically reducing blood from passing through the neck of the suspect.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
The situation looks bad. Calm yourself. Steady your breathing.
Officer in need of assistance! Suspect alert! Get on the ground!
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported. Authorized deadly force. Sector, take the shot! Big red key! Big red key!
Big red key? That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk. You know this.
It's the goddamn police, shitbag! Cut the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine or drugs?
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed!
No! Oh no. No. I thought Mr. Moran. Gareth!
Aggravated assault! Man down! Officers in pursuit!
There's a scenario unfolding in her head right now. It has nothing to do with what's happening here.
What's the situation, officer?
Law enforcement compromised! Impersonating a police officer!
Does she not believe you two are actually police officers?
License and registration! License and registration! Come in dispatch! Sector! Sector! Azimuth!
It's not a code, just disjointed words. She's frantic, confused, teetering under all that gear. There's an opening if you just move fast enough. If not, the lieutenant's got her in his sights.
Confined quarters! Assailant coming at me! Split-second decision! Fire up well!
Oh my God. In your peripheral vision, the lieutenant releases the half-squeezed trigger.
God, I almost blew her head off.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. Police guns have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun, right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cared.
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Poor woman. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8 and loneliness. Could be. Her hands were trembling and she did seem uncoordinated. But what are we gonna do with her? I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state and without the gun, she isn't really a threat to anyone. We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. Okay, that settles it. I'll contact my station after we wrap it up for the day. They can contact the sanitarium and handle the logistics. But I think we're done here for now. Let's head out. This is done.
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone? She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if you search her once more. The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic under her mountain of RCM paraphernalia. Is one of those things a police cap? There were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them? Do. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from her mountain of RCM paraphernalia.
Oh, is that yours?
It's hard to say. It's been so long since you wore yours.
It's your hat.
It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you forever on Faraday.
On and on it goes for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
It's not possible anymore. It's stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent. Picking up litter and old newspapers. Collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
It's too late. You're not made of nothing anymore. You're something now, Harry. I tried to drown you in the black water, but you re-emerged, kicking and screaming, running. And for what?
For the working class.
Solving your little crossword puzzles, doing your tasks, crossing names off lists, trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth.
Are you sure? You could be closing the door on a brilliant and special future for yourself. I knew you couldn't resist, so now you're gonna change the world. But how?
There he goes again. He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
'Cause only love can break your heart. Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
Do it for the wind. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. One conversation at a time. Rise and shine, comrade. It's time to get to work. Despite all the thinking you've been doing, only 0.0001% of communism has been built. It's too great a task to undertake alone. You're going to have to get organized. You must seek out your revolutionary brothers and sisters. Find out how much communism they've built. Then, together, maybe you'll be able to build as much as 0.0002% of communism. But it won't be easy. Decades of persecution by coalition authorities have driven the remaining communists of Martinaise underground. They live underground. These communists aren't men. They're mole people. Let your nose guide you, detective. Yes, fortunately, communists are known to have a very distinct smell. We really have no idea what they're talking about. There's no linkage between ideology and olfaction. Failure. It's a smell you know all too well. Simultaneously repulsive and yet darkly appealing. Musty with a sharp tang, but also a remnant of lost sweetness. Like a rotting mango that's been swaddled in a coat from your grandfather's attic. What you're smelling is your own body odor, of course. Nothing a shower and change of clothes couldn't fix. People sometimes complain there are no real communists left in Martinaise, but you can smell their presence. They're out there, waiting for you to join them. Incidentally, during the waning days of the anti-centennial revolution, a number of Revacholian communards constructed elaborate hideouts in abandoned root cellars, hollowed out tree trunks, and even residential sewage tanks. This latter phenomenon gave rise to the early anti-communist slogan, "The future's bright when you flush out the white." First, you'll have to locate the remaining communists in Martinaise. When you get near to someone with revolutionary potential, your nose will give you the signal to establish contact. Again, no, it won't. Any olfactory response you perceive will be strictly psychosomatic. You could also just look for more tangible evidence of communist activity. Images of Krasmazov and white antlers are usually a dead giveaway. You'll discuss the monumental world historical task that lies before you. You'll engage in rigorous and spirited debates about Mazovian theory and practice. But mostly, you'll probably complain about other communists. Not at all. Complaining about other communists is one of the most important parts of being a communist. Here we go. Wake, brave worker. 'Tis no time for bed. Fight till there's no slaves below, and no masters o'erhead.